This is something that came up because a year ago we agreed that we were going to do this, and the point was to make a note as to the number of demolition applications and also what the applications were for the replacement of those demolished homes, and whether or not they were going to, the homes that were being built were maxed out, what percentage they were maxed out on the footprint, and I defer to our planning director to give us that update.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, in November of last year, there was an LTC that was released, and it was discussed at the December 17th, 2014 City Commission meeting. And this particular update focused on the new lot coverage and unit size standards and what was being submitted and approved after the comprehensive revisions to the city's single-family development regulations.
And what was the date of that, please?
The single-family development regulations were transmitted by the Planning Board on September 24th of 2013, and so everything...
That's not possible.
It's not?
No, it isn't. I was elected in November of 2013. This is before that, and you and I sat down and worked on the 50% unit size and the reducing to 30% the lot coverage, and then the reduction in the accessories after I was elected. So how can this have been?
He said September of 14.
He said 13.
No. When we had worked on that, that was after it had been transmitted by the Planning Board, and so we were working on it just before first reading and then between first and second reading.
This was fall of 14?
This was, no, it was transmitted by the Planning Board on September 24th of 2013.
2013.
But made it to City Commission for first reading in January of 2014 and was adopted at second reading on February 12th of 2014. But those regulations went into effect at the time that the Planning Board transmitted.
Are you telling me then that the houses that are being built, like the two across from me, were permitted before September 24th, 2013?
They either got...
They weren't even bought then.
They either got a development approval before that date, or they got a building permit process number before that date, and those are transferable. So the previous owner may have gotten those development rights, and then when they sold the property, the development rights transferred with it.
You know, we should probably compare new home sites to existing ones and have a better gauge.
Home sites.
I don't understand.
We should, look, we have new homes that are being built now, and we have existing homes. I'm curious what the, oh, excuse me, my phone's. I think we can look at it differently because there's still really big homes being built. People are still complaining about McMansions today, and we tried to prevent that with our ordinance, but maybe we didn't do such a good job in that ordinance preventing it.
Right.
So I don't know if there's another way to kind of look at the data.
Well, I just want to hear what you have to, like, your presentation.
Well, in terms of the data that was presented in December was a snapshot of new construction permits submitted after the new regulations went into effect. And what the data showed back then was that the average lot coverage was about 28%, and the average unit size was about 42%. The commission then asked us to bring back another report card with similar data to verify what was happening between November 1 of 2014 and today. And the data is about the same. The average lot coverage between November 1 of 2014 and May 27th, which is the last day that we had the data of this year, May 27, 2015, the average lot coverage was 28% for new construction, and the average unit size was 44%. So what we're seeing is that people are not, in generally speaking, building out to the 50% maximum that's permitted. Are homes bigger than they were in the 30s, 40s, and 50s? Sure. Most of those homes probably had about a 30% lot coverage. For a number of reasons. People didn't need as big of a home back then. They were largely seasonal homes. Now that homes are more permanent residences, people want something slightly bigger. Clearly, what we're seeing is not every home being maxed out at 50%, but they are bigger than they were allowed to be and what they were living in the past. I think that something else that's important to point out is that because homes are now required to be built at a much higher elevation, that regardless of what their footprint is, they are going to look bigger than their neighbors. You could increase the setbacks of new construction, you could reduce the footprint, but one thing that's going to be impossible to stop is raising the homes higher and higher and raising the yards higher and higher. That's just a fact of life.
Sea level,
and
yeah.
it's because of sea level rise, and for that reason alone, new homes are going to look bigger than their neighbors. There's not much we can do about that.
Are there inspections that are done to see that homes really are no more than 30% lot coverage? Because
Yes.
it doesn't appear to our eyes that that's happening. It looks like there's much more house and much less pervious space.
There's, all homes, they go through the permitting process, and they're permitted at whatever lot coverage, 25%, 28%, and before they can get a CO and occupy the home, our zoning inspectors go out and do a comprehensive review to make sure that it has been built in accordance with those approved plans.
Then perhaps we have to relook at the regulations currently in place and see if we need to reduce them further, especially since they're going higher.
Yes.
Commissioner, you comfortable? Everything
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
You
we're
want-
just- we're just
All right, good. All right, everyone, thank you, Tom.
No problem?